Hey guys, my name is Tim. You probably know me as Ash. I'm a creative individual. I've been making content on YouTube for over 11 years. I'm an entrepreneur. I started my first company 7 years ago. We have over 100 employees now. And most importantly, I am a dad and a soon-to-be husband. And this is some advice that I wish I could give to my younger self. This is some advice that I am absolutely going to give to my beloved son, Charlie, when he gets a little bit older, trying to already instill a lot of this even at his age right now. And this is advice that I thought I would take the time to record this video to give to some of you guys out there as well. Some of these might be reminders, some of these might resonate, others may not. But this is, again, what I wish I could go back in time and even shake myself and say, dude, realize this, recognize this, really sit with this. And I think it would have made me a better person. Eventually I got there and you will too, but I wanted to share this with you guys either way. I'm just going to one take this whole video, no edits. So apologize if my thoughts are a little bit meandering at times. But number one piece of advice I want to give you guys, or I would give to my younger self as well, is collect moments. Collect moments. It could be the very first time that you're with, a romantic partner and you wake up in their bed in a strange city, and you look out the window and you think, wow, that happened, or this is happening. It could be your very first time on a plane landing in a foreign country. It could be a little tiny moment. It could be watching, your child walk for the very first time. Or it could be a somewhat, benign moment that might not stick out at you. It might just be, cuddling with a loved one, But every so often in life, you have this moment where you're like, this is what life is all about, but you don't get them that often. When you get them, collect them and cherish them and look back on them, because those are the moments you'll look back on that will make up the fabric of your life. Those are the moments that will give you strength. Those are the moments that when you're down and out in the future, because inevitably you will be, those are the moments that you'll look back on and say, it's worth it. This is all worth it for that. Those are the moments that someday on your deathbed, you will say, it was a good life because of those moments. So hold on to them and cherish them and never let them go. Even diary them if you need to, but never let them go, and try to recognize them. The trick on remembering them is try to recognize them in the moment that you're actually in. Like, this is really, really special. That's huge. It's been huge for me. And I almost get a little choked up and teared up just thinking about it, because I think about some of my moments, All right, surround yourself with good people. This can work in the business sense and it can work in the, relationship sense as well. And this is, everybody says this, but I think it's one thing to hear this and it's one thing to truly apply it to your life, right? Always be prospecting. I don't mean to be so strategic about it, but always be prospecting people around you, people you associate with. If you meet somebody who you're really you admire, right? You're envious of them, you admire them, or maybe you just look up to them in a low-key way. Surround yourself with people that you want to be more like, not the other way around, right? Try to avoid those people and surround yourself with people that you do look up to, that have traits that you admire, and you'll start to take those on in time as well. In a business sense, same thing. If there's people out there that you admire what they're doing, what they're building, try to network with them, try to keep them close. Habits, number 3. Habits are the most important thing in life. Little daily rituals, little daily routines. It's not the big grandiose plans oftentimes that leads us into a better place in life. It's the little tiny things, the menial daily chores and tasks that we often take for granted, especially as you get older. My age, life becomes, there's a lot less change in life, right? So it can be a lot more difficult to make a habit as well. When you're younger, everything's changing all the time. New people, you're meeting new people all the time. It can be really easy to get stuck in your groove. And that means that habits, for better and for worse, are a lot tougher to give up and a lot tougher to create healthy habits when you get older, right? Habits are everything. Try to, from an early age, try to fill your day with positive habits and routines. It can be little things, but little things that you never go a day without doing. Try to stack your day with a bunch of small positive habits, and those will snowball and you'll be a better person for them. It's crazy what little daily habits and routines can do to improve your life. Take care of yourself. This is another obvious one, but take care of yourself like you're somebody else who should be taking care, who you're responsible for, is a better way to put it, right? Take care of yourself like you are someone that you are responsible for, right? Listen, everybody will tell you till they're blue in the face. Get a lot of sleep, exercise. But again, going back to the habits, try to make those little things part of your routine. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself mentally too. Don't beat yourself up for no reason. Don't always go to the worst case scenario about yourself and dwell on it. Don't do it because it's not helpful. And that little voice inside your head, it's not you. That's not you. That's the ego speaking, but it's not the true you. So don't always listen to it, and teach it how to think in a more positive manner. Do things for the little kid inside of you. This is a very interesting one, maybe nuanced. Maybe I'm the only one who thinks this way. But sometimes in life, you're put in these situations, right, where it's very easy, and temptation is a real thing. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to make terrible decisions. But always look at the little innocent version of yourself. Picture yourself, that little innocent version of you, in your mind, and think about making the right choices, because it's what that innocent little kid inside of you deserves. It's what they deserve. Even if it's like treating somebody I love, I think, am I doing the right thing by the little version of me? For me, doing things for the little kid, or making decisions, the right decision for the little innocent kid inside of you, has helped me a lot in my life. Fear forecast. We talked about fears and not being, prisoner to your own fears in life. Fear forecast, guys, meaning think about worst case scenario. Okay, so if this happens, they might not like me. Okay, if they don't like me, then what's going to happen? If it could ruin a few other relationships, they could talk about me publicly, right? And that will ruin a few more relationships. Maybe I'll lose my job. And then what will happen? Well, I'll still have my loved ones. I'll still be able to find a place to live ultimately. Forecast your fears, and then they become a little bit less irrational, right? Sitting there night after night, as I did in my life, worrying about things that never even happened, is just a waste of time, and it's a waste of your precious life that you have, which is so precious. We talk about life all the time, making the most of life, doing things, being in relationships and stuff like that, whether it be family members, friends, or romantic relationships. But we don't think about the time that we spend in our heads, the time that we spend in solitude, right? If we're tormenting ourselves, we're wasting our life tormenting ourselves over things that probably are unlikely to happen. Focus on what you can control, and teach your mind to focus on the positive. Most rules set by society, most expectations set by society, are not concrete, meaning live your life. Don't do things just because society tells you you have to do them, right? I've never lived my life, feeling like I need to be somebody that society thinks I ought to be, right? I live my life for me. I make decisions for me, for my family, for my loved ones, but not because society says that I need to, Be curious. Be curious. Be curious. So many adults that I know, as soon as they were done with school, they stopped learning. It's crazy. Learning is one of the best things that we can do, and we've never been alive at a time that is better to learn about anything. Listen, I'm old enough to know that back when I was growing up, man, if I saw somebody on the TV that I didn't know, an actor on a movie, and I didn't know what other movies they'd been in, but they looked familiar, I would just never know. Right? There was no internet. When I left the house and I didn't have a map, I wouldn't know where I was going, That unknown, I kind of miss it in a certain way, right? But hey, glass half full is, now we can know about anything. Stay curious. Stay hungry. The way that we arm ourselves against propaganda, the way we arm ourselves is to always be vigilant, be critical, but be curious at the same time. If you want to know something, if you're reading a book and you want to know the backstory of something, go look for it. Go look into it. Be curious, and you'll be a better person for it, right? It's infectious. Money. Listen, everybody and anybody can tell you this, but don't use your money to impress other people. When you're spending your money to impress others, it's a fool's errand. It's a fool's errand, because no one's impressed by money. No one's truly impressed by money. When people see you being ostentatious, you being flashy, and doing things just because it's expensive, they're not envious, or maybe they are a little envious of you, but they're picturing themselves with those fancy things. They're not thinking you're so cool. They're thinking, I want those things. I need those things. They're comparing themselves with you, but not in a way that flatters you, not in a way that puts you in a higher esteem. You don't spend money to please other people. As a matter of fact, after you're able to provide for the basics, money will not correlate to happiness. Buying more things will not make you a happier person. Through about most of my 30s, I used to say, hey, if I just had X amount of money, right? You know, way back in the day, it was like $1,000 when I was a kid. And then it was like, okay, 100,000, then it was $1 million. Then I'll be good. I'll be good. And then I realized I'll never be good if my dreams, if good means that I need a certain amount of money. It just won't lead to happiness. What happens is you default. There's this book called The Happiness Hypothesis that talks about this. But if you win the lottery or become a paraplegic, within, I think, 6 months, you revert back to the same happiness level. Now, that might be extreme examples, but the truth is, if you can provide the basics, right? Now, being able to provide the necessities and honestly being ambitious, there's nothing wrong with that, right? I think about money all the time. I like thinking about money. I like the strategy of money. And of course I want more. I think it's natural and okay to be like that, right? That being said, don't fool yourself into thinking that money and things are going to make you a happier person. Experiences, relationships will make you a happier person. But things that you buy, they will never. Fleeting happiness. It's there and then it's gone. It's gone. Emotions and money separation. Another money one for you guys. Man, I used to be into crypto, back right the early COVID times. And I remember the acute emotions watching my account go up and down and up and down. And every time it went up, I was the richest man on earth. And every time it went down, I was beating myself up. My mood was viscerally affected and impacted by my bank account, right? You need to work to try to separate your emotions from money. Again, it ties back into happiness, but it also ties into despair, right? Ultimately, I'm jealous of the person that just barely gets by, but has a big, happy, healthy family whom they love and feel loved, right? That's what I'm jealous of, right? That's what I want in my life, not more money, frankly. Schedule gratitude. I might be the only one out there, I don't know. But, it's easy to say, be grateful, show gratitude to others. But for me, it just doesn't come that naturally. I hate to say it, in terms of going the extra mile. So I schedule it in. It sounds kind of corny, but nobody knows except for you and me now, But I'll put it on my schedule. Buy flowers for my fiance, send a text to dad, If you're good at it, then good for you. You don't need to do that. But for people like me that just need those reminders and those prompts, schedule it in, right? Schedule it in and make it a priority because it's really good and it feels really good to do good things for other people, right? You can save somebody's life right now by donating a few dollars to buy an insecticide mosquito net for kids who are dying of malaria in sub-Saharan Africa. It's againstmalaria.org. That's the website. Do things for people that you don't know. Do things for strangers. Save a child's life. Why not? It's a few dollars, Give back. Give back. Even if you don't have much to give back because you'll feel better about it and you'll be helping somebody else out at the same time. Don't argue on social media. Never, ever, ever debate or argue about anything on social media. I could sit here and tell you why, but you probably already know why. Arguing and being passionate about things is totally fine. Debating on things, totally fine in life. In real life. IRL. Not on social media. Listen, this is a disease that plagues, from what I see, older generation. The boomer generation, right? A little bit of my generation. There's no reason to do it. You're not going to change anybody's mind. Half the people that you might be arguing with could be bots anyway. Why waste the mental energy and the anguish and the stress and the anxiety associated with arguing online? No matter who they are, no matter what they said, ignore haters and trolls, ignore everything online. If you feel so passionate that you have to speak out against something or somebody online, then at the very least, sleep on it and do it the next day. Before you do any decision, before you send any message, any email, any text that is super consequential to your life or at least really, really important, when you're in an emotional state, sleep on it and do it the next day. More often than not, you're not going to send it the next day. Use perspective as a grounding mechanism, meaning when you're feeling lousy, down and out in life, look at people in other countries. We just talked about sub-Saharan Africa, right? Look at people around the world who struggle with far, 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 far less than that you have, but are still somehow happy. Use that perspective to give you what you need in terms of your mental perspective to improve your mood and your outlook and reframe things in your life. Things are really as bad as the story that you tell yourself, because everything that you say about yourself and your life is a story that you're telling yourself. You have the power to change your own story. Last, but certainly not least, live life with a soft touch. This is the number one thing for me that I have to repeat this to myself every day, because I'm an emotionally charged person, right? Which is really good in some situations and really bad in others, right? I wear my heart on my sleeve and I'm not afraid to tell it how it is. I'm not afraid to be unique and creative, but I'm also not afraid to speak out. But oftentimes I found that when I do speak out, when I do speak emotionally charged, even in real life, not just social media now, I tend to regret it. I tend to live life with a heavy hand. You know, I heard a quote by Alan Watts one time that, you know, a lot of people who are so rigid, who are always on the cusp of blowing up emotionally, not just out of anger, but just having emotional volatility that they don't like, you know, and sometimes they often regret. He compares those to like classical conductors, where everything has to be a certain way at all times, right? But you want to live your life like a jazz conductor, like a jazz music player. Some notes aren't going to fall into place. Some notes aren't going to be on the scale. It's not going to be melodic all the time, right? But you want to kind of go with the flow. You want to live with a soft touch. If something happens that pisses you off in life, why don't you think, how interesting that the universe is throwing this at me today? How can I react to it? How could I respond to this in a way that benefits me? You know, when I say benefit, I mean your own happiness. You know, bad things happen all the time, and it's easy to get enveloped in these bad things. They're going to happen to you throughout your entire life. They happen to me throughout my entire life. But try to live with a soft touch, because people who live with a soft touch and kind of go with the flow a little bit more and are able to learn how to adjust emotionally to the things outside of their control in their life, those are the truly happy people in life. So try to live life with a soft touch. Next time you start getting riled up, remind yourself, let's try a soft touch. All right, guys, hopefully some of that advice resonated with you. I know I wish I could have heard some of it a lot earlier in life. Thanks for watching. Much love. And as always, take care, guys.